Happy Father's Day to all the great fathers out there. My boy Sal, Gary Gabagool here for the Red Podcast 11. And we're opening up the show with a very fitting song. And like we always say, Sal and I are picking some really kick-ass songs, and we picked some Gimme Shelter by the Stones, which to me is one of my all-time classics. It's one of my favorites of all time. But if you look at the words,
oh, I know.
Sal said it. He's right. It's some gangster shit. It is. Because after this week, once again, this is our 11th podcast. 11. Once again, this week has been more fucked up than the past 10 weeks. And every week we come on and we say, can it get worse? And every week the answer is yes.
I know. Unreal. That's the reason I said some gangster shit. Some gangster shit went down this week.
Absolutely.
We almost saw a congressman, his aides, whoever it was, him and 5 other people almost got shot to death for no apparent reason whatsoever because they were Republicans. This is the world we're living in right now. This is some insane stuff.
What's crazy and what this, I think this whole shooting had many layers, which I want to talk about with Sal. I think there's 3 things in particular. There's probably a lot more, but 3 things that we go in on here on the podcast. But one thing is why this occurred. We could talk about that. Second thing is the reaction from liberals and the left.
Yeah.
Because I thought that was pretty telling. And then the third thing was the media response. And I looked at those things really carefully. And I mean, I guess we all did. It was all over the news all night, deservedly so.
Horrible.
It was a terrible thing. And by all accounts, this guy is a really cool guy.
Yeah. You seem like a pretty...
Everybody loves him.
Like upstanding man.
Yeah, everybody loves him. And I don't think in particular that this maniac was looking at him. Yeah. I just think he happened to be there. I think it was... But he was looking to kill Republicans, that's for sure. He asked.
I mean, I'm going to go the whole conspiracy route with it because it's more fun. It's more fun this way.
Go ahead.
This guy was a fucking trained CIA dude. I'm just saying. Just saying.
Yep.
Operative, maybe, in the past. Who knows? He's 70 years old almost, this guy.
Yeah.
Looked fucking crazy. He fucking looks ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, maybe he was just a sleeper. They're like, all right, we gotta enact an old guy right now. This is top DNC shit. What was Scalise trying to stop? Pedophilia, human trafficking.
And if you don't know that, I was going to mention it. Sal makes a great point that Scalise was working on that.
Scalise, I think I said Scalise.
No, he died too.
He's dead.
Two Italian guys got fucking killed or shot. But he was working on pedophilia and child trafficking. And here's what I was thinking when this all went down. I was thinking this. Yeah, they got some crazy guy who is showing up all over on websites saying he's going to terminate the Republican Party. I would not doubt that someone on the left kind of brought him out and said, hey, listen, this guy's going to get shot, so he's never going to come back to us. Yeah. He's never going to come back. You know,
he's a loner. He's a loner. Anyway.
He's a nut. Yeah. He's a piece of shit. He's a nut.
Because they use all their fucking people anyway.
Exactly. Exactly what they do. They just use you and spit you out. But I don't think anything wrong with the conspiracy theory.
No. I like having fun with it. Obviously, this man
he was deep emotional. He was a deep emotional nut job. I mean, the thing I found funny was, people are, why do you do? Well, listen, people, when somebody walks up to a group of people and say, are you Democrat, Republican? And they respond, you're Republican, they open fire. You know why they did it. Yeah. And then you look at all his...
Who is that in the field? Yeah. Republicans or Democrats? Those are the Republicans practicing.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Exactly. And not for nothing, all his rhetoric on his public, social media, on public sites are all incredibly disturbing.
Yeah.
And nobody said shit about it. They fucking banned me from Facebook, but they don't ban this fucking guy.
It's incredibly disturbing, but all of them are incredibly disturbing. So it's like, how do we ban this fucking just one guy? Because they're all doing it.
You're right.
And that's one of the things I think this is one of the side effects of the media. They're showing all these bad things. So then people think, well, it's all right. It's all right. Well, they were the Republicans.
Let's get into that.
It's not that bad.
Yeah. And that's the second thing we're talking about, the media response. And
we can go back to the first
No, I think we answered it. But the media response is, I think what they're looking to do is they're doing it so much that they're desensitizing and denormalizing this type of behavior.
Yeah. Towards
I'll tell you what fucking disturbed me a lot was after the whole shooting went down, the media and specifically some people on the left were making jokes about it. It was fucking funny. One guy said, You know, these are not guys. Some of these guys had job. Like one guy, I think was from the Washington Post. He said something, or Huffington Post. He said something along the lines of, if this guy who shot him had a health problem, would that be considered? You know, and he made some stupid joke like shooting was a viable solution. But another guy said 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out, or you're dead, or something. Like, who the fuck talks like this? Like, you have to be such a cowardly pussy to talk like this. And wish this on anybody. Because listen, I'll be the first to tell you, I despise Hillary Clinton, Obama, all of them. Not in a million years would you catch me going on social media saying, I hope that they get shot. You sound like a fucking douchebag.
Yeah. Well, this is what I saw. Like, we're going to call out Jim Devine, the piece of shit Democratic guy
from Jersey.
From New Jersey.
Go ahead. Talk about this guy.
Well, the hashtag Hunt Republican, Hunt GOP, that was from him.
Yep.
He's just a piece of shit. And then when they were asking a question about it, he wouldn't back down from it. He was like, no, do it. It's like, dude, imagine this was someone that you knew that just got shot for no reason by playing softball. Like, would you be saying the same thing? Like,
the thing I love the most about these guys is even the guys we had on, I think on our very first or second podcast was the Project Veritas guys, all the guys we saw on the cover. They're all Jim Devine clones. They're all little cookie cutters. Boom, boom, boom. They're like manufactured in some retard plant, and they're all the same. This liberal retard plant. These guys, if you get them face to face, they turn into fucking. They'll cower.
See, one of this, I think it's all about money. It's got to just be straight up about money, because no way he actually thinks like that. And if he does, it's one of those dudes like, I would gladly take the fine to bitch slap him. Yeah, I'll take the battery charge just to bitch slap that dude in public.
Absolutely.
Oh my God.
And I think it's getting to that point. Like we talked about this last week. It's getting to that point now. I think it's getting worse than ever. And here's the part. Now we're talking about the left reaction as well as the media, but even the fellow politicians. I mean, I loved all this, and I knew it was bullshit. All this bullshit that we're united in 3 hours, not even, maybe an hour, and then they're coming on blaming Trump for this and here's what it comes down to. When you have all of these maniacs putting like this guy Devine put, or putting whatever, the laundry list is as long as my arm of all the hashtags and websites on terminate Republicans, all these Hollywood assholes. I don't even want to go into it. So there's so many of them. But when you keep on a daily basis, on an hourly basis, having such inflammatory responses, what the fuck do you think is going to happen?
Yeah. And you're talking though, like, and this is what we talked about before, about how many people are actually fucking stupid in this country. Mm-hmm. You're saying this to a lot of stupid people.
You are.
A lot of stupid people who actually have money and can go out there and buy things for free.
Yeah.
So they're going to go out there, buy guns, and be like, well, the war started. It's time to take hold.
Yeah.
Time to go out there, kill ourselves, some of these fuckers. And we don't know. Like, this guy was from the Midwest. He was a dumb piece of shit.
From Chicago. Yeah.
Like, I just keep saying, like, are they going to keep pushing this? Because the people in the South have all the guns.
They do.
Most of them are Republican.
Yeah.
You don't want to. They're the real fucked up people. Like,
oh yeah.
This is what I keep joking around with my friend. I go, because I talk to him about this stuff too. I'm like, dude, what Muslim people are going to take hold of this, and they're going to finally take responsibility and stop this shit. And he's like, dude, like what, like, wait, and then we get into it, like how do we go about doing it? And we're like, well, you have to organize, blah blah blah. But I said to him, the joke is, I was like, you're pushing the bear, and I was like, the bear is the most fucked up group of people known on this earth.
Yeah,
white people.
They are.
We're gonna fucking kill you. We're gonna give you disease. We're gonna fucking blow you up. We're gonna do everything we do to win. It's the white way.
Yep.
I'm sorry not to like be white nationalist and sound like fucking. You know what I'm trying to say, right?
Yeah.
It's like you're poking white people, the fucking most sadistic motherfuckers known on this planet. You're pushing them.
Yeah. And
bad shit's gonna happen.
Well, it's amazing now. I think that
you don't provoke white people
every week. It's I feel like we're pushing this along a cliff, and we started out pretty far away. 5 years ago, 10 years ago. I think we're basically, kiltering or like falling on that ledge and when that goes over, you're going to see some bad shit go down, and it's going to start happening if this doesn't change.
I was thinking it's going to happen. I don't foresee it happening where we live. Obviously, I think people are too grounded and too, hustling up here.
Yeah, there's a lot of hustle,
a lot of work. You got to stay moving. You got to stay hustling. You got to stay afloat. Now, poor people in the South, fucking crazy wackies out west, Midwest.
I mean, I know when I drive up on the PA border, Sussex County, New Jersey has some crazy bastards up there, and they're all Trump supporters up there. I know, and I drove by there. They're all and I know my people who live here in Sussex County up Route 80 or 287. They know that's the way it is up there, and it's getting to the point where I mean, after this, and nothing changed. Matter of fact, I think it got worse. It got worse with all the rhetoric from the left and the media.
Yeah, with now they have to push through obstruction. When it all fails, that's when that's when the violence. I feel like.
Well, yeah, here's my thoughts on the whole Trumpish, and I know, and I'm gonna say it's flat out. You fucking liberal assholes that are fucking emailing me and saying, "Oh, Trump's obstructing the justice." I don't think you have a fucking clue because two things. First off, Jay Sekulow is the preeminent constitutional lawyer with Alan Dershowitz, who's a liberal. Sekulow is a conservative. Alan Dershowitz, he's the head of the American Civil Liberties Union, and he's also one of the head. He's a liberal, big time. He has come on multiple TV shows and said there is nothing here with President Trump, and he's a liberal. He has to follow the law, follow the Constitution. So you fucking idiots don't know what you're talking about. And secondarily, now you're talking about this. Oh, but Robert, let me tell you something. Robert Mueller is the ex-FBI director. He's buddies with Comey, big time buddies. He has 4 people on his team who are all huge donators to Hillary Clinton Foundation. So you have these 4 judges, or these 4, Jeanine Rhee, Andrew Weissman, James Quarles, and Michael Drebin. All 4 of them are on his investigative team, and they donated to the Clinton Foundation and the Democratic Party for the last 15, 20 years. So they should be recused. There's a conflict of interest. And all you liberals don't give a shit, because the one thing I realize about liberals, and they said it, Harry Reid said it a long time ago, we will lie, cheat, steal, and do whatever is necessary to win. We have no moral ethics.
White people.
Yeah, and that's why Democrats and liberals are such scumbags, because that's what they believe.
Yeah, I know. I fucking know it. These fucking people are so evil, and they just get away with all their bullshit.
It's getting to the point where the more you hear about this, and here's the funny part: if he does get impeached, which I don't think he will, but say he does, because they're going to continue this. They're not stopping. They're going after everybody. They're just going to continue this until something, and eventually something's going to fall. I mean, what's the old saying? Throw enough shit against the wall, something finally sticks. Something's going to stick. But they don't understand. He doesn't have to do nothing. He doesn't step down.
See, I think, honestly, he'll fucking fire Mueller.
Yeah.
He's going to do that. If push comes to shove, give it like a week, he'll just fire him.
Yep.
And this will be the end of that.
Mueller's a piece of garbage as well.
Then obstruction will be gone. And then where do they go to? So I keep fearing.
Yeah. Well, I just find the whole thing funny that they want to talk about obstruction. And then if you dig down really deep and you go into the first thing I would say is, and I think actually President Trump put out a pretty good tweet, and he said, well, what about Loretta Lynch and Bill Clinton meeting on the tarmac? That's not obstruction of justice. Obviously it is. Yeah. What about the uranium? That's not. So it's so fun. Like, I have to say, and I don't think many liberals watch us. No, I don't think they do. But if they do, I'm talking to you liberals. Fuck you. You are some fucked up people. I have never seen such hypocritical ass swipes in my life. And I challenge any liberal out there, any liberal, to sit here and talk to me. I have a dude named Crazy Larry. He's a guy who comes in a coffee shop. He is a Trump hater, just like these idiots that we're talking about. I bruised, battered, and beat the shit out of him intellectually in about 5 minutes. He ran out of there with his tail between his legs, crushed, because it's so simple. It's simple.
Their arguments are see-through.
They're horrific.
It's just like, oh, man.
I don't like them. That don't mean shit.
I feel like this is gonna happen. It's like they have fucking.
That's what he said.
It's like they have psychological, analytical powers that they just.
He said, "I feel." I go, your feelings don't mean shit. You gotta follow a law.
Like, they've fucking called it. It's like every bet they've ever bet on was right. Everything they ever thought was the fucking correct scenario. It's like they've lived the fucking. Life of pestilence.
Well, I said insane. I said, Crazy Larry, I feel like punching the shit out of you, but I can't. So it doesn't mean anything.
Well, I feel it. I know it. It hasn't happened, but I know it.
Yeah.
It's just like, you don't know shit.
No.
You don't fucking know anything.
And every one of your heroes on TV has been they're batting 1,000. They're in the people in CNN, CNBC, Washington Post. They're in the Hall of Fame of fucking losing.
Yeah.
They lost every fucking time. From the beginning of not even before the election, everything they've said, they've been 1,000% wrong.
That's why I just feel like they're going to continue to be wrong. But people still want. I mean, I feel like less and less people are watching.
They have to be
less and less, because I know now that CNN, like, their numbers came out. Not even their most popular show gets 1 million views per week.
That's horrific.
Not even.
Think about that.
Yeah.
1 million.
Not even 1 million.
Not 1 million.
And the best podcasts out there, they get 10 million downloads.
Right.
So if you have 2-3 good podcasts a week, you're getting 40, 50 million downloads.
CNN is a highly financed operation. Yeah. They're not some little bogus shit.
They're bleeding money. Just
they got to be bleeding. Well, it's in to your
too. I mean, they all all cable news,
like we always talked about. But to your point, something happened on late Thursday night that I came across. There's this dude named David Almasi. He's a vice president of a group called the National Center for Public Policy Research. They're they're a conservative think tank. They're huge shareholders to Time Warner. So this dude came out and said the guy's name is Jeff, the CEO of Time Warner is Jeff Bukes, and he said of CNN. I'm sorry, and he said, hey Jeff, all of our shareholders are very upset that you're, for the last 4 to 6 months, all your talent is so biased, all your reports are so skewed. We're gonna pull our very large financial investment in CNN unless things change. He said this in front of all the shareholder meetings. So what basically happened is Bukes got caught off guard, but a couple of others who are kind of middle of the road say, yeah, we'll pull all our advertisers, because not only are you ain't getting ratings, as mentioned by you, your stuff isn't even credible anymore. You're losing viewers. You're hemorrhaging viewers.
Just like CNN has been caught now with that fraud. But
oh my God, 1 million of them.
1 million different stages, 1 million different times. And it's just like, you can't stage the fucking news. The news happens and you record it.
It's a spontaneous event. Yeah, of course.
Correlate and now hold the signs and now yell and now do this. And only when there's 10 of them and you make it seem like there's a group.
They're trying to make the news a reality TV show, a fake one.
Holy shit. Yeah.
I mean, all reality TV shows are fake. We know this. Yeah. Sal and I are on a reality TV show. They're gonna, if we're just doing, they're gonna say, hey, make believe you don't like each other, or say this. This is not fucking real world. And that's what the news has become.
Yeah. It's pretty wild.
It's clusterfuck.
I heard that new network, OAN. I wish I knew what it stood for. One American News.
Yes.
They're getting O'Reilly. I don't know if you saw that.
They're out of San Diego, and they're owned by a military family.
The word on the street is O'Reilly's getting his show back.
That's pretty good. I wonder how they're gonna pay him, or he may just take a cut, because I know he makes a lot of money, but he don't really need the money.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, if he just wants to get back at Fox, he's just going to do it out of spite.
And they're going to probably give him like a lot of creative freedom, and they're going to probably have
give him the 8 o'clock.
Yeah, everything. Or they're going to probably give him like a financial investment when he grows it. And I have watched that news. It's excellent. I think on Fios, it's on channel 1. I think it's 116 or
I'm not sure. Low 100s.
Yeah, it's like one of those. But yeah, it's good. It's very conservative, and it's like I said, it's ex-military family. I think it's an ex-SEAL guy from Coronado that his family does it. So It's cool, but it was small. But another thing, and here's something that we're going to talk about. And people, this is amazing. This has not been on in the media at all. But in Florida, Southern Florida, the DNC specifically, and Debbie Wasserman Schultz is being sued for rigging the election in Florida. The guy who's doing it is a lawyer, obviously, and he's basically asking for federal protection for all witnesses and lawyers involved in the case.
Why federal protection? Why that, Gary?
Why? Because he specifically cited in the last 6 months the deaths of Sean Lucas, Seth Rich, and Berenson Wissenhurt. So think about this, people. A guy who's a lawyer in Florida who's suing the DNC and Wasserman Schultz. The interesting thing I found is he didn't have Hillary Clinton's name in there, which I found that to be very interesting.
Yeah, that's probably strategic.
Yes, but he's already asking for protection. But and the funny part is none of it's in the news.
No,
they want to talk about some bullshit obstruction. They're being sued in a federal court. There's a judge assigned to the case. I think his name was Judge Zott or something. So there is a guy. And so this is legit.
I mean, that just goes to show you that all the news is owned by these Democratic liberal people, and it's insane. You can't get your message out there. It's impossible. If without, as much as social media is like, it's shitty for a lot of people and it hurts a lot of people. It's the one thing that I can't believe I'm saying it's the one thing we have to fall back on. If you didn't have social media right now, how would you get any like real credible things out there?
Right now, the news, every time I think the news can't sink to any lower, they sink. They are this off the ground. I mean, and I love when they play ignorance. Like, how dare you? Like, I think I saw a guy last week. He was a pretty cool guy. He was like, I think he was just a, ex-newscaster from another. And he basically said, well, you guys and they acted so shocked. Like, what are you talking about? Like, fake news. And he's like, come on, people. You made up this, and this.
So do you think this Democrat stuff against them is going to come out soon? Or do you think it's just going to be all low hush shit?
Like, it's going to be quite interesting because how the fact that it's not even being mentioned in any media news organization is frightening. I mean, could you imagine if any other organization was being sued, a major government organization?
No, it
would be top news.
It would be. It'd be headline news. It'd be like, look what's going on. Look at these corrupt fools.
It's like we always talk about, though. The whole a part of me tells me that the DNC knows there's not going to be an obstruction charge on Trump.
They know it.
They know it, but they just keep throwing it out there to basically take our focus off the other shit that's going on.
I don't know. It's scary to say. I hate to be a conspiracy theorist, but I think they're just buying time right now. They're trying to figure out what kind of fucked up shit they can do. Like, it's only fucked up shit with them. Why do anything constructive and helpful?
Well, I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to stall Trump's agenda until midterms. Yeah. And then they're going to say to him, hey, what did he accomplish? Nothing.
But that's not going to work.
And it's not going to. But they're just going to keep it up.
But it's like, that's when but it's not going to work.
It's a bad
So what is going to happen?
Well, they got nothing else. What do they got?
It's not going to work. So when it doesn't work, what are they going to do? Like, this is the thing with the election. They were so arrogant, like I always say. And then they're like, all right, I feel like this is all procrastination in their part. They thought they were going to win the election. They didn't. So now they're like, all right, we got to stall Russia. Right. That didn't work. So we still got to stall.
Right.
Obstruction. That's not going to. Now what the fuck do we do?
Right.
Like,
it's true.
And it's just like,
one after another.
Yeah, so like their procrastination has really fucked them this time, and what are they gonna do? Because it's not gonna work.
Well, liberal thinking is what you're mentioning. Normal thinking would be saying, all right, let's take this party back. We need a plan. Let's get some great, because right now they don't even have one good leader. They're all shitheads. Yeah. I mean, you look at the Democratic leaders in the forefront. I mean, who do you got? You're talking about Cory Booker, moron. Kamala Harris, piece of shit. Elizabeth Warren, complete nut.
Pocahontas.
Who else? Yeah. Who else do you got? Joe Biden again? Joe Biden, in 3 years, he's senile as shit. I mean, the whole group of them is a complete batshit crazy. So, but that's what normal people would be doing. And just to caveat this story about President Trump is something I want to talk about. It's been pissing me off for a long time. And I mentioned it a couple of times, but we just scratched the surface. But the fact of the matter is that the Republicans own the House and the Senate. They can't get anything through. Is just a trivial fact that the rhinos are the biggest scumbags of all. They are the Benedict Arnolds of our party, of our conservatism. And I can go down the list, and I bet you the guys we name, there's probably 3 times as many in there. We know the high profile guys like the McCains, the McConnells, Lindsey Graham, Paul Ryan, Mike Lee out of Utah. These are bona fide traitorous scumbags. John Boehner. This is what they are. And then you have this guy, Mark Sanford, who came out. This is the guy he's become the new poster child for CNN. Here's a guy, a Republican governor in South Carolina. He was using taxpayer money to go bang his Argentinian mistress, and he got caught. So the Republicans got rid of him right away. But now this asshole's coming on CNN as a guest speaker or a guest, whatever the fuck, guest host, saying these crimes that happened to Scalise and the aide and those other people are due to Trump. and they're eating it up. They were the same ones who shit on this guy back then because he was a Republican, and because this is how much of a low, he's looking to get into the public eye. Like, he'll even listen. A normal human being, when you get shit on by somebody, the only way you come back is to shit back on him. Yeah. This guy got shit on, and he's just come back. He needs to get in the public eye with all these other clowns. But those rhinos, they are part of the reason why we are. Because if they stuck up and went, fuck you, DNC, which they're not, because they're all paid by Soros too.
Yeah, and the sad part is, like, that dude, his reach runs worldwide. For a bit, I think he's a little bit of a poster child too. I think there's even bigger, badder dudes than him, and they just kind of use him.
Could be
as like, I blame it all on this fucking guy.
Yeah, I mean, I know about, I think 10 years ago, he was like number 3 on the richest man. Now he's 15, I think, because I think he donates so much fucking money. Yeah. I mean, I think he donated over $1 billion last year to all these causes like Occupy Democrats, Antifa, Black Lives Matter. I mean, that's a lot of fucking money to give away.
I want to talk about the Putin interviews a little bit because
it's interesting.
Putin actually goes into Soros, and
what does he say?
He fucking calls him out. He's like, this.
He's a global criminal. Yeah, he's a global terrorist.
Putin. Like, when I texted you when I watched part 4, he was eviscerating Obama, the DNC, Soros, everybody who backs them.
And Putin is no dummy.
It's what he says. He talks about American politics from an outsider. It's crazy to hear someone be so spot on. Dude's he's no fool.
No, he's no fool. People act like he is, and it pisses me off because I'm like, you're underestimating a man. Like, I don't think people realize when you got a man. I don't care what man. I don't care what country he's from. I don't care, as long as you're talking about like a top 10. When you got a man who is a special forces operator, there ain't no fucking dummies on these special forces.
Cold and calculated.
They're brilliant. Now, their emotional state, they got to do shit that most people can't do, which puts them on an upper echelon. But I'm talking about solely their intelligence level. They are incredibly bright people. So when I hear people say, oh, Putin's an idiot, I don't want to say anything. You sound like a moron. The guy is a very bright dude. And you watch his interview, you will see it.
He specifically called out McCain.
Yep.
Especially for his interference over in Ukraine and trying to meddle in foreign affairs and stuff like that. And calls out the rhinos and the people that have been there. And he goes, that's one of the biggest problems you have in your politics in America.
Of course.
And he goes, the super PACs, the media. He goes, everything is not, he's like, the media doesn't just report the news there. He goes, they make the news. And it's just.
This is the president of Russia.
Yeah. And then and he goes, he breaks it down. He's like, I've been president of Russia for 20 something years. And then he breaks it down how it's changed. And it's crazy. Yeah. And it's just like, wow, if you have the time, and it's 4 hours. They split it up. It was a 4-night event.
And Oliver Stone did the and he was really good, you said.
It's really good.
Which is good because in the past Oliver Stone could be a little bit, but that's good. And what I like, what Sal mentioned on the interview, which I really liked because I asked questions to him, is that Oliver Stone didn't really interject as any opinion. He just
reported it,
which I think is great. That should be more of the news.
And then when that really got me is when he was talking about ISIS and how, like, when you realize who's actually fighting ISIS right now, it's mostly just Russia.
Yep.
We're fighting, we're there, but Russia actually has troops on the ground.
Right.
They're the ones doing all the bombing, doing all the shit. So it's just like, damn. And they go deep into Russia. And I didn't realize how far the ISIS caliphate.
Oh yeah, they just posted something the other day.
When I saw the map on it, because he shows the map of it, I'm like, holy shit, they almost have half the fucking world already. That's how much land they have. That's how much mass they amass.
Of course.
People don't realize this over here. They're like, oh, what's ISIS? A fucking some sand towel head dudes just running around. No, these dudes are organized as fuck.
They're well financed.
They have half of Africa, half the Middle East, half of Europe, half of Philippines, half of if you look at they're trying to fucking really spread globally.
That's their goal. They've been trying this for years.
Like when I saw the map, I was like, I can't believe how much land they have. And I couldn't believe it.
And that's something that is become. I think what happens is this. Here in the Northeast, or at least people I know, every day, when you talk about politics with some individuals in the past, what their response is, I don't do politics. I'm too busy. I got my everyday life. I got my job. Whatever the case may be. I think at this point in time, that's just a bullshit coward excuse, especially if you have kids, because if things continue the way they were, and this whole President Trump thing somehow goes away, which if it does, we're fucked. But if it does, because the American citizens allow it, you are leaving your children with a shit world that the Muslims will be fucking taking over this country. Just like they did everywhere else.
It'd be crazy.
It'd be crazy.
What it's gonna, they're gonna have that whole hemisphere except for Russia. So it's gonna be Russia against them all.
And Poland.
Right. And they're not gonna be able to win.
Right. No, it's unless what happens is a fucking bomb gets dropped, and that's what's gonna probably be some type of fucking hydrogen bomb, something they can self-contain. That's just wipes everything out, and you're gonna have to wipe out the whole population.
Sad.
It is. It sucks. But I think that's what eventually is going to happen. If it gets to the point where they're that well financed, that that quickly moving into more land and more
incredibly well financed,
incredibly well financed. They're some of the richest dudes on the planet. Yeah. We talked about this, and just one more thing is you mentioned something earlier. Then I want to talk about one other thing. But you mentioned about the whole oh shit! I just drew a blank.
Anyway, when I was talking,
go ahead.
Well,
the term limits.
Oh, go ahead.
It was something that you said that Putin said that was one of the main reasons. I just read today Dianne Feinstein out of California. She's going to be 84. She's running another term. What the fuck? Well, what is? I mean, well, think about this. If you and I do anything in our life when we turn 65, they want to retire you. These people at 85 want to start a new career, and they were telling me about how cake the job is when you're on it for 60 years or whatever the fuck. Yeah, she's been on 64 years. Basically, they don't do anything. They work, I think, one every 6 years. So this woman will be doing nothing and just being paid her 180, whatever she's paid, and getting all the bennies. But that's another thing. All these people, liberals, Democrats, independent, everybody who talks about term limits. That's always a big thing. And I think that might be the one thing that everybody can agree on. We need term limits. President Trump brings it up, and now they're ragging on his shit, all these liberals. And Dianne Feinstein now, and she's not the only one. Orrin Hatch is re-upping. I think he's 83. McCain's re-upping. He's 82. These old fucks, go home. Put them to bed.
What if Trump really does some crazy shit, though? What if he goes, fuck you all? Like, what if he finally says, I'm emperor forever now? And like, what are you gonna then do? You're really gonna see people go crazy. Yeah. Like, it's gonna be so funny because what they're doing now would be the same thing they're doing then if he did it, and nothing could be done to stop him. Like, it would be hilarious. I would be upset. I would be upset, but I'd be laughing in the background.
President Trump put an executive order that no one's even talking about, not even anybody. And I read it, and of course, it's gonna get shot down. Without a doubt. You know why? Because he said, and I think it's fucking brilliant. And you want to talk about a businessman being in politics or a guy, excuse my language, with a set of balls? He said, if your district is not growing at a 3% GDP, you cannot run.
I like that.
That's fucking awesome. Guess what would happen? Everyone in California, gone. Jersey, gone. Yeah. New York, gone. All gone. So he said that would be a result, but they will never vote. But I just think the thought process is amazing. I love it.
Get everyone on that business.
Get everybody fucking growing. Be concerned to keep your re-election campaign going.
Get your people working.
And he said, if they continue, they could be. He goes, if you're growing your economy in your state and your unemployment stays down, you can run forever, or have the job forever. And I'm in agreement. Yeah. I'm all about pay for performance. That's what the government. That's why the government doesn't run like a business. And my wife posted something today about capitalism. It was a fucking amazing thing about liberals and capitalism. And basically, in a nutshell, I'll make it brief, is this gentleman, and it was the guy with Adam Carolla. It was Dennis Prager. He made the video. The two guys together. Amazing video. He basically said he went through all this stuff. Like everyone likes their Apple phones.
Remember the name of the video?
It just came out. It was Dennis Prager. It was called Why Liberals Love Capitalism, or Should Love Capitalism. And basically what the guy said is he went through all these things that everybody likes to do. Uber, Waze, ordering online, Amazon. He went through all this stuff, and he goes, liberals love this stuff. And he goes, and why does everyone hate going to the DMV? Why does everyone hate going to the IRS? He goes, because that's government run, and they do a poor job, and they don't need to satisfy their customers. You're stuck. And when he went through it, and that's exactly my point, is that their hypocrisy, and I use that word all the time with liberals, but their hypocrisy is so self-evident. It's embarrassing. Sometimes I'm embarrassed for them.
It's like spiteful hypocrisy.
Right.
It's like the only reason you're doing it is to be spiteful.
Right.
You know it's not better for anybody.
No.
You're just doing it to be a jerk off.
To be a jerk off.
So like now you're killing people. You're gonna be a jerk off and you're gonna kill people. It's just like you're poking white people too much.
Well I have the one thing, and then we'll move on. But the whole Bernie and this goes on. We have Sal and I have some relatives. No names mentioned. And then we have then the other guy, Crazy Larry, the guy I met at the coffee shop. His whole thing was with the Bernie thing. And I said, do you people understand what Bernie wants to do? Bernie Sanders is on record saying that every American should make $80,000. Yeah. So I said it's the Crazy Larry, and I think I've said this to our relatives, and they're like, "What?" I'm like, "Well, don't you make more than 80,000?" And they do. They say, "Yeah." I'm like, they're like, "Well, when it's mandated, that's good. Well, why don't you do it now? If that's what you believe." Because you're a fucking liar and you're a hypocrite. You want to talk the talk and squawk, but when it's time to step up and walk, you backpedal because you don't really mean it. You're just saying because you said you're acting like a jerk off. Because nobody, if you make $200,000, why the fuck would you want say I'm going to give my 120 to that guy sitting on the bench doing nothing and he's perfectly healthy? You know that you're full of shit, but you just want to argue because you want to be a jerk off.
Yeah. No, I saw it firsthand. Like I tell you, my friend. I'm not gonna even say names right now because I'm gonna say some bad stuff. Anyway, he goes, "Well, I'm voting for Trump." I was like, "Of course you are. You're gonna own a business." He's like, "Your dad's voting for Trump too." He's like, "Of course." He's like, "My fucking sisters are voting for Hillary." I was like, How the fuck does your dad even let them in the house? I was like, they're going against like his business with a vote for her.
Who pays your fucking bills?
That's what I said. I was like, are they doing it to be jerk offs? Like, what the fuck is wrong with your sisters? Well, I mean,
right.
I didn't really go that far with it, but I was just like in my mind, I was like, oh. I was like,
think about this. Think about a husband and wife who the husband may be a Trump supporter and the wife is a fucking, and she's a stay-at-home mom. Yeah. I'm out busting my ass. Now I'm not sitting. Now listen, I'm not trying to say staying at home with your child is not busting your ass.
Yeah, it's hard work.
It's hard work, and I'm not saying that. But you need the breadwinner to pay for this shit. So the guy who's going out there, or if it's vice versa, say it's a woman who's a Trump supporter and the guy's at home and he's voting for Hillary. You piece of shit. That person's out making money to put food on the table, and you're gonna vote for the person that's gonna hurt their business, just like you said, like you asshole.
That's actually a real thing now.
It is.
If female breadwinners.
Yes.
It's like
it is.
And especially with my generation, it's going to be crazy because more women than men go to college, more women than men graduate college.
Yeah, I mean,
so like it's got the whole trend of the breadwinner in the house is going to be completely the whole dynamic's changing.
Yeah, it's listen, I don't know what these fucking Antifa women are talking about women in the Western society being put down.
Are they retarded?
They got to be fucking retarded because I'm telling you right now, the women I know are fucking doing great.
The women I know are hustlers.
And it's funny.
They're proud of it.
There's a true story. Back in the day, I used to run a region. So I used to have about, I guess, maybe like 8 managers and like a shitload of reps working for me. And so I used to interview, and they were probably, that now they'd be a little older than you. But the one thing that shocked me was the women candidates were fucking aggressive, tight, and like on their game. Yeah. And I interviewed a lot of people. The men, not all of them, I would say, and I don't want this to sound stereotypical or anything, but I was mostly interviewing like in the North Jersey, Staten Island area. The Italian guys were all pretty on the same.
Yeah.
The other guys were fucking all wishy-washy, like fucking like wet noodles. And I hired the women because they were fucking gonna go kill it. The guys were like, well, I don't know. And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, who the fuck wants to hire that? Who wants to hire a kid who's like a paper bag, like a wet paper bag, like oh, so like flaccid and so like moaning and whining. Like, get the fuck out of here. No. You ain't never gonna get a fucking job. But that was something I saw a lot of that age, and they're probably just a little older than you. Yeah. So it's probably way worse now.
Way worse. Way worse. Way fucking worse.
And the last thing I went on this, and this is so heinous and vile and hideous that I just want to mention it one more time because this piece of shit deserves so. But I talked it on. I did a video this week that got a lot of hits, got like 2,000, and it was about this little girl. And this was a group of Muslims. And here's the funny part: is that there's nothing funny. I shouldn't say that. It's fucking disgusting, actually. Mm. But the judge is this guy named Thomas Borison. And basically what happened was these Muslim kids, Muslim boys, she's learning disabled. They took her, they raped her anally over and over, and then they urinated in her mouth. And they go to court, and it was funny. This is interesting. There was a woman and a man, and I mentioned this. They're from something called the Freedom Daily. They got hold of the transcripts on Facebook. I went on their site and got them. Within 10 minutes, Facebook censored them, took them off. But I happened to see them, which was good. I should have took a picture of them, but I didn't. But they censored them. I didn't think they were gonna, so I didn't think it was necessary. But basically, the transcript showed that the prosecutor in the case was only allowed to talk for a little over a minute. They weren't allowed to put the little girl's picture up, which is fucking hideous in itself because it basically doesn't. If you don't have a picture, you don't have a victim, and the judge wouldn't allow it. And then he let the district attorney, talk for like 5 hours on how great these boys were doing in school and how they were acclimating to life in America from the Sudan and Iran and how they're suffering from PTSD from the negativity within the community. And I just sat here and I just said to myself, how the fuck did anyone in that courtroom keep their composure? Because you said it earlier. It would have been worth it to bum rush the fucking judge and knock the fucking teeth down his throat. It's worth the battery or assault charge right there.
Listen, you got nothing, no priors, no bad history. You're not gonna get too.
If it's a father,
you
say I'm crazy. I'm going crazy, and if I'm charged, I want to take it out of this court. I want to go which to be honest with you, if my daughter, God forbid, or anybody's daughter that I love, at 5 years old was anally raped and pissed in her mouth, maybe I would do this. Maybe I would tell the judge I don't want to press charges. I don't want to press charges. And I pull a law-abiding fucking citizen. Do you remember that movie with Gerard Butler? Yeah. I pull those kids all end up dead one by one.
No, well, I mean, there was a real life case of that. I wish I could fucking remember the names and where it happened. I want to say St. Louis, but I can't remember.
That's what happened?
No, real guy knew his son was kidnapped and murdered by this other guy. Guy knew it. Knew it for a fact. Yeah,
the videotapes and shit out now.
Guy, camera phone. I'm not gonna say specifically. Right. Guy went to court, got off. Guy, father, incensed.
Of course.
Knew where the guy was traveling, knew when he was coming back, waited for him at the airport, just waited for him as he's walking, just ran up, shot him in the head.
I saw that.
Then he dropped the gun.
I remember that.
And he dropped the gun and he let the cops arrest him.
I think that guy also raped his son.
It was something fucking horrible.
No, it's on video. I saw it.
It was something fucking horrible. Yes. I remember that guy got his justice, and I was like, it was probably worth it for him. It was probably really fucking worth it.
You're right, because I remember it. The guy made believe he was on the phone. Yeah. And when the guy walked by, he put the phone down. He just turned. He just shot him in the head, and then he went down. Yeah. I think, you know what's funny?
I saw that. I was like, it's not. I'm sorry. There's nothing really bad about that.
No. If I'm on a jury, I'm letting him go.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's what happened. He didn't even get jail. He got, some sort of probation and
that's the way the way it should be. That's the way. So to go back to this fucking judge and those kids, they should be fucking killed.
They should be raped.
That judge is such a scumbag. It's not even. Then he puts a gag order and says they're not allowed to talk about it. And I'm sitting here going, wait. And then I thought that was kind of weird, right? So I go, wait a second, how's this even possible? Then I go find out that there is a judge that was the district attorney appointed by Obama named Tina Olson, and Obama and her had this agreement because Idaho has a large Muslim population that Muslim crimes or crimes by Muslims all were going to be gagged, so they wouldn't be in the media and they couldn't be talked about. And I'm saying to myself, what the fuck are you? You're promoting violence, murder, rape,
and no one will talk
about it because you're going to say you're going to punish the people who it happened to or their loved ones. Think about that, people. Our former president hired someone and instructed her to put a fucking gag order on all Muslim crime. That is, if that guy is one of the most, they all are. They are some of the most evil fuckers. And this judge should have his teeth knocked down his fucking throat.
Well, just another example. This was superficial. I wasn't even going to talk about this real stupid story, but real quick. I think this lady's name was like Denise Robinson, whatever, some lady. It was one of the last pardons Obama gave. One of the last pardons he gave. This lady, you guess, she's in jail for drugs and all kinds of shit. Lady's a fucking crackhead. Right. A fucking crackhead. So she's only been pardoned now for less than a year. whatever.
What happened? What'd she do now?
She got caught with 150 grams of crack on her, willing to distribute. She went right back to jail.
Of course. Well,
violation or whatever.
My point is, how does Obama get involved with a crack
deal?
And
then, like, that's what the FBI or the ATF dude that said it, he goes, how
did the president?
That's what he said. He's like, how the president could be so negligent, and his thinking of letting this woman out of prison is beyond us. And it's just, it's coming from like an agent.
Right.
Saying, it's like, no shit, like this. You see the picture of the lady, like, that is a fucking scumbag crackhead. What are you doing?
Well, my point is, what is, like, isn't that above his pay grade to be worrying about like individual crackheads?
What's he fucking doing? That's what I like. This is my whole question with his whole presidency. Those whole years.
What is he doing?
What the fuck was he doing?
First off, I think he spent more time. I'll tell you what. I'll goof on him. I think he spent more time on his NCAA picks.
Yeah.
His Grammy Award picks and this shit than he ever did doing anything else. He didn't do anything.
All he cared about was being a movie star.
That's it. He wanted to be on TV and act like he was fucking some. You know, that's why he's walking down now with all these millions of dollars.
Going back to those interviews, I was watching the Putin interviews. They go at the end of Obama's term. Remember at the end, right at the end, December 30th, he was talking tough on Russia.
Yeah.
I don't know if there was anything.
Yeah.
I told him to stop. Right now.
Yeah.
Cease and desist. And Putin just laughs. He goes, that never happened. He goes, a lot of these things, and he goes, and that's why you got to watch. He goes, never happened. Lie, never happened.
Right.
And he just is going, he goes, and he's saying, he's like, I wish I could remember exactly what it was and put it in his words, but he just tears him apart to like, this dude was no president. This dude was no leader.
No, he was a hack.
He was just a fucking
He was a
straight that's a great word for it, a hack. He was a puppet.
He was a hack. It's what he was. Dude, do you understand if Obama and Putin were ever in a room together? I will guarantee you Obama would leave with his fucking pants stained. Yeah. He'd have shit stains in his pants because Putin will look him in the eye and say, fuck with me, I'll break. Putin could probably kill him with 2 fingers.
They asked him, he's like, so what did you and Barack talk about like during this time? And he goes over like just superficial shit. And then he goes, now he's on President Trump's only been president for whatever, 5 months, 6 months. He says, what have you talked about? ISIS, the economy, North Korea, fucking, and he just like lists things like, oh, relevant shit.
Right.
Things that actually matter.
And that's an excellent point, Sal, you brought up. Like, this is what drives me crazy about the media and the liberals. We talked about all this other stuff. When are we going to say, like, I asked this Crazy Larry guy, I said, what's the 5 most important things for any president to do? And I go, job-wise. And I gotta say, I had to help him a little bit. He's like, the economy and jobs, terrorism, energy independence, the environment, and he said something else. And I said, well, why aren't you liberals who hate him so much? Why won't you even give him a chance? He's asking me. He didn't do anything he promised. He said he's in office 4 months. Your guy was here 8 years and do shit. You never asked one question about that.
He actually went against the shit he promised. Right. He flipped the script on him.
But this is how they think. They're like banging him out in 4 months because basically he came in February. So you got March, April, May, June. Not even 4 months really. About 4 months on the nose. But this is what they're like banking his whole presidency on 4 months. Yeah. He's going to go 8 years. If not him, because the way the liberals are, Democrats. They ain't get nothing. They're complete clowns.
Out of spite, he won't.
Probably.
Even if they do get somehow obstruction impeachment, he won't step down just out of spite. Nope.
I don't think they understand. He's a bull. A literal bull. A mental bull.
Fuck what they think.
He doesn't.
What they say.
And he doesn't care. And he is one of these guys that he is so mentally strong.
He's the complete opposite of them. That's what they can't understand.
He is, yes. And he's complete opposite of what they're used to bullying around. Like I always said on the previous podcast, you had McCain, you had Romney, and you had the Bush for 8 years. You had
pushovers.
So you had 8, 4, 4. Like if you take them like they were presidents, so you had 16 years of complete pussies. I mean, McCain was just dead. I literally think he just was planted there, probably paid off
without a doubt.
And that was Obama's. He was going to win. So I think that was it. Romney actually showed up for like the first few months of running for president. Then either he got threatened or
there's no way this could happen.
Something, because then he threw in the towel and he just gave up. And then you have Bush, who was president prior, and he just Didn't say a word. He got abused every day. Never fought back once. Not one time.
He played. I'm a dummy.
Yeah,
he played that whole.
He played that whole role,
and
he played the ostrich. Stick my head in the sand, it'll go away, but it never did. And in the last 4 years, he even placated to them, and he gave money. He gave the Jews in America hated him. Yeah. So what did he do? He gave a lot of money to Israel. Never changed it. The blacks hated him. Gave a lot of money to the African American community. Still hated him. The minorities hate him. Gave the money to refugees. Still, so nothing worked. The advice he was given, and that's why he brought us from being kind of in fiscally good condition to losing our ass. Now this guy carried, when we were in the locker room, we were doing good. He brought the ball out to the 10 or 15 yard line, debt wise, and now Obama's fucking out in the parking lot. I mean, this Trump's trying to change that.
I mean, it was that whole, that whole bubble thing that was probably staged.
Oh yeah, well they all knew it was happening.
That's why they planned on this other bubble to happen again.
Yep.
Right, but Trump fucking somehow, some way is stopping it.
Yeah, but you never would hear about it because they don't give a shit.
Well, anything good won't be said.
Not one good thing.
The good will come out 20 years from now.
Right, which sucks. And people, Sal and I mentioned 2 podcasts ago, Harvard Business Review, which is a left-wing liberal organization, said the media is going 96 to 98% bad reports on President Trump. Yeah. So think about that. That is obscene.
Yeah, that's like the whole, and then I heard people saying, well, where do we go? Well, I don't know. I guess BBC is still good. The UK, that one's like 70-32. They're
all bad.
Even Fox is like 60-40 bad.
Yeah.
They're all bad.
I mean, if you're talking about an independent news network, that scope of where you should be should be nowhere more than like 52-48, 53-47. That should be for everybody. Whether good or bad for Obama, Bush, Trump. I mean, do they do bad stuff? Oh, they all do. Yeah. But and I think of all of them, Obama did a lot worse than anybody. But I think his was complete opposite. I think he had all these positives and I know this for a fact. That's what he had if you look it up.
I bet too, it would be so funny if a news station actually just tried reporting the news now. I bet their ratings would go through the fucking roof.
You're right.
I bet they would go through the fucking roof.
What a wonderful thought. A news network telling the truth.
I'm telling you,
right.
Even the liberals got to be fed up with it. The conservatives are fed up with it. Imagine they can just go to one place where they know. It's just, where I watch a lot of this shit? I was watching a lot, C-SPAN was good. I watch PBS.
Yep.
PBS is not that bad too.
As long as
they're not spinning it.
Yeah, as long as you don't have the person.
They're not announcing it.
That's it. As long as you don't have the person who's giving because now it's getting to the point where every news network has become like a public forum for that reporter to give their viewpoints.
Well, I got paid by so and so.
That's it. We know that's happened.
I gotta be a little bit.
I mean, I heard Brian Williams before he got fired, and I think he might be back because he looks terrible.
I don't think he's ever coming back.
He said, he said something recently about Trump and he was on the news. So I don't know where he was at, but he came out in this whole thing about Trump is making America look terrible. I'm like, no, you made yourself look terrible. You're a fucking liar.
It was best because Brian Williams was a keynote speaker at Monmouth.
Should have booed him.
He got some Monmouth award.
Yeah.
It was way back when. Right. But I remember listening to him speak. I'm like, this dude sounds like a fraud.
Right.
Yeah. All these years later,
and he is a fraud.
Oh man, what a fraud!
Yeah.
I was like, well, I knew it.
And
you could tell. But I also got to see Al Michaels, and Al Michaels was really
Michaels is cool.
He was cool.
I used to do some work with Al Michaels. He was great.
He won the award too 1 year when I was there, and I was in the communications part, so you had to watch them accept the award.
Yeah, Al Michaels is amazing.
He was cool.
He's not a young man anymore though.
No. Yeah, I think this is probably 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Though, so
he still does some good reporting. Yeah, he's got a great voice. Yeah. But yeah, he does mostly sports, and that's what he's always been. But he's great.
Make it lighthearted. You see Joe Buck's commentating the fucking PGA tour right now.
Nah, yeah, I know. Yeah.
So it was just funny because Gary Cohen, they were like, Ron Darling was making fun of Gary. He's like, yeah, Gary, you got a great voice. You ever think about venturing into other sports? And he goes, nah. He's like, I'm seeing how it's going for somebody right now trying to do golf. And he's not doing too well. Yeah. He's just calling out Joe Buck, but he wouldn't say his name. It was so funny.
You ain't doing better than Jim Nance. Jim Nance is he's like a full-blown killer on that. Wow. But so that's that. But that being said, we got anything else you got? Anything else you want to talk about?
No, people watch the Putin interviews. Watch them.
Putin interviews are real good. I'm going to watch them. Maybe we'll talk about them. And like I said, people, we're preparing to get some stuff. We're gonna get some new cameras. We're gonna get a mixer, and we're gonna have some guests. So some of the guys that talk on Facebook a lot, you know who you are. I'm gonna ask you to come on. Sal has some people. We're gonna ask them to take some calls. I know a lot of people who don't live in New Jersey may want to check in. We're going to be able to take your questions and address you personally and stuff like that. So I think that'll probably raise the podcast up one. Right now, we weren't ready for it, but lately, suffice to say, which is good, we haven't had any technical glitches lately, which is great. So we're happy with that. But with that being said, Sunday, happy Father's Day to all of your dads out there. Sal and I don't have any fathers, so we're going to go upstairs with our mothers and grandmothers and hang out and have a good Italian Sunday dinner. So, Gabagool and Sal out. We'll see you guys next week.
Peace, everybody.
Awesome. That was about what, like at 57 minutes?
Yeah. I did.